I hear
there.
you. No, I can't believe that the president has become a dictator, and they're starting to have a few hearings, but it's still not a big deal. I mean, because this is what happens historically. Countries get to where they put up with evil, and then we empower the dictator to become a Hitler or a Mao. Pastor Manning, do you think we can turn this around?
I'm confident that we can, but we must acknowledge what I said just a few moments ago. We are late to the game, but we have the majority on our side. We have the morality on our side. We have all of the issues that we need on our side. We just need to acknowledge what they are, put together a plan. Obama has been planning this with the New World Order and others for years. We're late to the game. We're just getting in here, but we can win, and we can win handily. There's no way we should be defeated. So yes, but we need to get started, and we need to get started immediately, if not beyond before that.
Well, you say not use their tactics, but beat them knowing their game. What's your idea?
Well, first of all, as I said before, we got to take down the media, Alex. I mean, we have got to take down what I refer to as the dunghead media, because they've got people pacified into thinking that Washington Republicans or whoever, or politicians, are going to solve our problems. We got to stop people from thinking that, wake them up to the fact that they need to get into the streets, not necessarily with arms or with margin, but they need to get into the program of looking at what can we do economically, socially, and racially to bring this nation back together again. And once they recognize that Washington is not going to solve it, that it must be done by grassroots movement, at least we'll have a start at that present time. And what we'll also discover is that Obama's power is not as great as one would think that it is if the people that know the truth simply rise up.
Sure. Well, somebody can kick your butt if you lay down and let them.
Absolutely.
We just got to stand up. I want to come back and go over some issues with you and pick your brain, because I'll tell you, you're just really a smart guy, and I mean that seriously. Pastor Manning really saw stuff long before I did on this issue of Obama.
We're gonna cut them down, tell them it got.
And you can see the masterly evil of the establishment grooming Obama, we now know from a very young age, just like it's out of a horror movie, where they're grooming, the Antichrist. It's Rosemary's Baby. It really is the stuff of legend, how his whole family, CIA, Pastor Manning's had the CIA and FBI come to his office and threaten him. We've had the same thing. FBI, Secret Service, you name it. All sorts of things behind the scenes. I mean, the minute they can, folks, they want to come after everybody and basically force a civil war. That's probably going to be their plan. And we just need to not have it happen. And again, it sounds real wimpy on air to say, I don't want a military coup, or I think we should lay down to an attack by these people. This isn't about a military fight. If we don't respond when they attack us in the first wave of a purge, even with a controlled press, the message will get out that they did it. But here's the deal. They're not going to do that. If they try a purge, they will blow up federal buildings filled with daycare children. We know the names of who did Oklahoma City. I've interviewed the police officers, the head of the K-9 unit, Don Browning from Oklahoma City. He knew the feds did it. They came to his office. He's listed their names on air and said, we're going to kill you and your wife if you don't shut up. By the way, I got death threats when I had him on, and I mean the real ones. Because the people that did that run the Justice Department right now. And again, it's like stepping on the edge of a cliff whenever I get on air and talk about this kind of stuff, okay? I mean, so when I say we need to have restraint, it's not that I'm not willing to get in a fight. It's not going to hurt the New World Order to have a shootout with the state police. Before we're going to kill these people, we really need to go out and try to wake them up. That's the point, and that's what Manning's getting at, is we have got to absolutely reach out to police and military right now. The military is really woken up. Police are starting to, but they kind of pick them to where they'll follow orders, so that they see the rest of the story and get uncompartmentalized. Now, Manning, Pastor Manning, I want to give you the last 6-7 minutes here. You've got the floor. Don't pause for me. Any other ideas, how we turn this around, where you see this going? Maybe citizens that are at Obama events yell out things. I mean, little stuff like "you're a liar" in Congress. We don't know. There's all sorts of little things that could bring down the facade.
Well, when we talk about a coup and a military confrontation, we have to keep in mind that Obama comes from a very violent background, though he tries to present himself as the boy next door. Obama's the product of Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn and all that weather underground crowd. He comes from a very violent background. Keep that in mind. His association with Islam is very violent. But I think in terms of strategy, Alex, one of the things that we would look at after we take down the media, and we need to do that because without that we're going to be continually be beat by Obama. We need to go after Obamacare. That is an Achilles heel. It's a massive tax program that's unconstitutional, that's socialist, that's communist at its core. But he needs young people to be able to register and be a part of that process. If young people don't register, Obamacare falls apart. Now, the whole business with the rollout and the fact that the computer did not work, they're going to get that together at some point in time. But if we can go out, launch a national campaign with a broadcast such as yours and others to reach young people that they don't sign up, that they're not cowed into signing up for Obamacare, if that can happen, then the whole thing falls apart. Because at that point, Obama will not have the financing to be able to keep Obamacare alive. And what he'll have to do at that point is do something more dictatorial than he's doing right now. So I would suggest that what we would do, number one, is take down the media. Number two is take down Obamacare. And doing it through the people, pardon me, doing it through the young people who don't want Obamacare, and then turning them around against him, because they were all for him at one point in time, but not anymore. And they're definitely not going to sign up for Obamacare. If we do those two things, at least we'll begin to put a crack in his armor. And we'll begin to educate the people, and we can take him down economically the way he's trying to take us down economically and socially.
Again, you pause for me and interject, but everything you're saying is just spot on with the research and great ideas. And I just thank God for your leadership and many others. And I wish there were more people out there who understood all these different nuances, because it's scary to know people are waking up, but that there's not that many prominent people that are willing to come up with a battle plan. But let me ask you this question. I've noticed evil loves to betray its own minions historically, and I don't understand that as a person that doesn't know betrayal. I don't like betraying even people that are enemies and bad. In fact, crushing them, it feels like a betrayal, even though I'm not betraying them. I'm standing up for myself. But with Obama, he loves, I mean, here's an example, Barton Springs. I went down there 2 months ago, to the big open pool. They got like 20 lifeguards, one of the biggest natural pools in the U.S., spring-fed. And one after the other, they walked over and apologized. And they said, I thought you were wrong about Obamacare. They just cut me from 40 hours to 20. And they take more money out of my check now, and I work another job, and I go to UT, and I eat ramen noodle. My parents are poor. I don't have any money. They're taking like $50 more out of my check. Like you said, they lied on the news, and everywhere these poor Obama people apologize. How could the communists even betray their own idiot followers? And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just, how do you hurt poor people like this? And how does he think he'll get away with that?
I think the thing we have to always keep in focus about communism and socialism and Marxism and Islam is that it has never worked. There is no nation on the planet where it has worked, where it has proven to win the love of the people, where we in a democracy and in capitalism here love our nation for what it is. Most communist people that are at the bottom of the communist rung don't care for communism and want to get out from underneath it. And it takes the military to keep communism going. So I think that when we look at what Obama's trying to do and what the New World Order thinks that they can accomplish, however, they're using more high technology now than they've used in perhaps a Mao Zedong or in Lenin's communism. We're going to have to recognize that communism really at the heart of the matter with people doesn't work. So how do we get the message out? Rather than talking about a different political ideal, such as a Republican versus a Democrat, we've got to tell people about the ills of communism. We got to go into, and I think our fourth program would be, we've got to get into the universities and into the schools, because that's where they're indoctrinating our young people into thinking that communism is a good thing and that Obama's program is a good thing. So we have to, if we do these basic things, we win. If we don't do them, we definitely lose.
Well, I want to be clear. I mean, when you see how Obama tries to take the radical Islamicist Al-Qaeda people from Saudi Arabia and to inject them into Syria for 2.5 years and then call that peace, I mean, it really does show that this particular elite we have, I mean, look how the NFL promotes him. Look at how the whole system's giving their power to him, showing the power structures behind him. Do you think Obama's paying off the way they thought? Because as you said, if Obamacare is blowing up in their face, well, they knew it was going to blow up in the face. So he's got to become a dictator because his whole agenda is going to backfire. They're going to end up losing a whole generation to believing in communism because they're giving them a taste of it before they have full dictatorship in.
Well, if you look at the stock market, when Obamacare is blowing up in its face, but if you look at the stock market, he is greatly rewarding people that have invested in him. If you're talking about major people in the movies or in business and entrepreneurship, they are reaping great rewards, the greatest in the history of this nation. They reaping their financial rewards as for supporting him. But they're just a small percentage of the population. And they're not in control, but they are.
And it's in fiat devalued dollars, and it's not going to be worth anything. It's all a fraud. It's all hot air.
But that's true. That's true. And I think that the American people need to wake up and and of course, prepare themselves for when the financial collapse comes, and it will come, whether Obama's in power or not. That's coming. And that will be another opportunity once the financial collapse comes for those of us who've been out here on the battlefield to take the power reins at that time when the economy is weak and people who have depended on their billions to be able to give them power. We have power by our commitment. We have power by our love for this nation. We have power by our love for one another. That's our power, and we're rich in the billions in that, and we ought to use it as much as we possibly can.
I agree. I can feel your power, Pastor Manning, because you have love, and I can hear it and see it in other people's voices. I just feel sad for the average person. Doesn't seem to have any discernment. I mean, you could take one look at Obama and tell he's a devil. I just didn't know how bad. What in your spirit told you 6, 7 years ago or even longer that Obama was so bad?
Yeah, well, you remember I was on your show very early on and talking to you about Obama being the son of Satan. And a lot of people call him the Antichrist, and that will work. You certainly don't want to throw that out. But Obama is inherently evil. When you listen to what he is saying over against a reality of where we are as a people, you know that he is lying, and that he is lying profusely. Obama did this one thing, Alex. He promised the world, not just America, but he promised the world what they wanted to hear and knew that he could not deliver it. He promised the world you were going to have peace and you're going to have prosperity. We're going to have a unity of the people. We're going to bring all the nations to the table. We're going to have a unity between Muslims and Jews. We're going to have a unity between blacks and whites. We're going to have a wealth where everybody has got wealth and power and prosperity. He promised that not just to America, but to the world. And that's why people fell for him. But the opposite of that is to look at that and know that he can't deliver that. He cannot. So he's lying. Why would?
Well, he's delivered the opposite. He's delivered the opposite.
Absolutely. And that's my point. I knew that's exactly what he was going to do. So we have to recognize that anyone that would lie like that to the American people and to the world has to be ultimately evil, so that he can take away their liberties, take away their freedom, take away their economic base. So when you see Obama, when I saw him 6 years ago in that perspective, and talking the things that he was, and saying the things he was saying, and denying what I knew to be the truth about him, it was very easy to see how evil he was and how people were searching for it, looking for it. And you got to also realize that George Bush was such a disaster that they were looking for anything to bring them up out of the
But look at how now that I pull back, I see the elite behind this, but it's even more than they could orchestrate the way it was all orchestrated perfectly. It really is satanic. Everything we've seen has been orchestrated. As you know, the Bible talks about the mystery of evil, how it works so well together. And you can really now see on Obama a super evil design, one of the most evil I've ever even heard of in history, with a high-tech integration. And I shudder to think what we're going to see out of this figurehead, out of this production, out of everything behind him, out of all the evil behind him.